Right, let's move on to the last lesson. Last part of the lesson, should I say, of factors number one, HCF. So we're on HCF part two, just slightly harder examples, more unusual examples, the kind of stuff that a higher level student should be able to cope with. So we're looking at example number one. So example number one asks me to factorize 4x plus 8x squared times x plus 1. Well, the first thing you need to be able to do is identify the terms. That there is the first term, 4x. And this here is the second term. Now, I know there's a plus there, but it's buried inside a bracket. So what you really have is you've got 8x squared times x plus 1. That is a single term. If you expand it, multiply it out, you can turn it into two terms, but right now it's a single term. And what I want to do is I want to take out the HCF from each term. Well, let me write down my HCF here. So what's my HCF? Well, first of all, numbers. What's the highest number that divides into the 4 and the 8? And the answer is 4. Now let's look at the x's. What's the lowest power of x I can take out of x and x squared? The answer is x. And then finally, you've got a bracket called x plus 1. Treat that as a unit. There's x plus 1 there, but there's no x plus 1 there, so I can't take that out as part of the HCF. So my HCF is 4x. So now let me go ahead and factorize this. That's equal to 4x times. Well, 4x by what gives you 4x? I'm going to use square brackets here. We're now going to fill in the brackets. 4x by what gives me 4x? The answer is 1. Now 4x by what gives me the second term back? Well, 4 by 2 gives me the 8. X by x gives me the x squared. And finally here, I've got the x plus 1. You can always do a quick check, because if I multiply out the second line, I should get the first line back. 4x by 1 gives me 4x, that's fine. Second term, 4x by 2x gives me the 8x squared by the x plus 1. So both lines are identical. It's an identity. I've just written the first line down in a different way. Now, we'll do a little bit more tidying up inside these square brackets. So that's equal to 4x times. Let me multiply what I have inside here. So I've got 1 plus 2x by x, 2x squared, and 2x by 1 plus 2x. And now, there's no tidying up to be done here, because all these terms inside the square bracket are different. They're not like terms, but I do like to rearrange them, don't I? I always like starting off the highest power of x and then gradually move down. So here's my final answer. It's 4x times. You can now revert, if you wish, you don't have to circular brackets. And I'm going to arrange these so it looks a little bit better. 2x squared plus 2x plus 1. Don't have to do that, but I think it looks better. You know, we're going to be dealing with this later on anyway. The way I've written that down inside the circular brackets is called standard form. So that'll be coming up in lessons to come. Right, let's have a look at our second example. A little bit harder again. So here's example number 2. I want to factorize 9 times 2x minus 1 all squared minus 3 times 2x minus 1. Well, the first thing to do is identify my HCF. I'm writing it down separately here, but when you get slick at this, you just go ahead and do it. What are my two terms? Identify your two terms first of all. This here is my first term. Separated by a minus, here is my second term. Ask yourself, in the first term and the second term, what is the highest number that divides into both numbers. The highest number that divides into both numbers is 3. That's the first part of my HCF. Now, look at the bracket. The bracket is 2x minus 1. I've got a 2x minus 1 squared, and here just a 2x minus 1. What is the highest bracket that I can take out of each term? Well, take the lowest power of the bracket. The lowest power of that bracket is 2x minus 1 to the power of 1, or just 2x minus 1. So there's my HCF. So here's my next line now. It's equal to, write down your HCF, 3 times 2x minus 1. And now finish it off so that the second line, when you multiply it out, is identical to the first line. I'm going to use square brackets. So let's look at the first term. 3 multiplied by what will give me 9. The answer is 3. That bracket, 2x minus 1 multiplied by what will give me 2x minus 1 all squared. Well, the answer will be 2x minus 1. Now move on to the second term. 3 multiplied by what will give me minus 3. The answer is minus 1. You can put the 1 in if you want. Doesn't matter if you do or don't. And then 2x minus 1 by what will give me 2x minus 1. The answer is 1. So close my square bracket. Now let me tidy up inside those square brackets because that looks a bit strange. You can certainly do with a bit of simplifying. So it's going to be 3 times 2x minus 1. Square brackets. Expand. So I get 6x minus 3 minus 1. So that's equal to 3 times 2x minus 1. If you wish, you can now revert to circular brackets. Doesn't matter if you do or don't. I think it looks a bit better. So tidy up in here. I have 6x. Add the numbers together, minus 4. Now, actually, if you look at that last bracket, it can do with a little bit of further factorization, couldn't it? What can I take out in common from inside that bracket? I could take out a number. I could take out the number 2. So now I've got 3 times 2x minus 1. And from that last bracket, I'm going to take out the 2 in common. So I'm left with 2 times 3x minus 2. Then finally, to finish it off, because it looks a bit weird like that, you can multiply the 3 by 2 together. So I will get 6 times 2x minus 1 by 3x minus 2. So I fully factorized that original expression. You could have done it another way, by the way. You could have expanded that, squared that in your head. You know how to square that in your head, don't you? You would get 4x squared minus 4x plus 1. Multiply all that out, bring it together, then factorize it. But I think it's nice to be able to recognize the way I did it. So that's a nice kind of higher level type question. Right, back to our notes. We've now done everything we need to do on highest common factor. It was good revision. Once again, as I keep on saying, here's the exercise. I've given you loads of stuff to do. There's 18 questions for you to practice. You practice these. It'll take you about half an hour. Get the answers. That builds up your confidence. And now you're ready to go on to more complex material. So that's the end of lesson number 2. Thank you very much.